So, you think you guys got a lot in common?
In some aspects, yeah, we do.
How are you guys?
To tackle the weight difference, Terence Crawford isn't leaving anything to chance in his showdown with Canelo Alvarez. Instead of training solo, he's teamed up with the first fighter to ever defeat Canelo in the ring. Crawford has kicked off his training camp earlier than usual to bulk up and adapt to the added weight ahead of their September clash. However, he does plan to take a brief break midway through the year. Terence Crawford had welcomed Floyd Mayweather to his training camp well in advance, and the two seemed to enjoy their time together. As expected, Mayweather primarily focused on refining Crawford's defense. They worked on techniques like the shoulder roll, body feints, and even added some footwork drills. When Mayweather fought Canelo Alvarez, Canelo was just 23, while Floyd was in his mid-30s. Yet, Mayweather's impeccable defense left Canelo struggling to land clean shots over 12 rounds. Over the years, Mayweather has trained several top fighters, including Ryan Garcia, and shared his vast knowledge with stars like Devin Haney and Gervonta Davis. Now, with Crawford as his latest trainee, Mayweather had a few words to share with fans about their time working together. You might be curious why Terence Crawford, a seasoned pro with 40 fights under his belt, would turn to Floyd Mayweather for guidance so late in his career, especially with retirement just a few fights away. The reason is simple. Crawford's next bout marks his debut in the 168-pound division, a significant step up in weight. As a result, Crawford turned to Floyd Mayweather, a 5-division world champion, for guidance. In a recent interview, Mayweather reflected on his iconic fight against Canelo Alvarez, revisiting memories from their clash in that weight class.
Gave the sport of boxing their whole life and sacrificed a lot inside that square circle. They should feel that way. So if he feel that way, more power to him. I had one fight, and the fight wasn't actually...
I had one fight with Canelo, and it was at a catch weight, not my decision, but the story is out there for anyone to look up, Floyd Mayweather explained. At one point, I think Canelo believed I was scared of him. He said I didn't want to fight him and offered to meet at 152 pounds. So, I called his bluff and agreed. After Canelo made weight, there weren't any restrictions on how much he could gain afterward. He weighed in at 152 but came into the ring close to 168 or 170, while I stayed at 151.
Wait, but it wasn't my idea. So at one particular time, you guys can, anybody, you can go online and pull this up. It was an article. So with Canelo said, I believe Canelo at one particular time thought I was scared of him.
Perhaps Terence Crawford saw this as the perfect opportunity to learn, given how much he still needed to understand about competing in a new weight class. With less than a month to make the jump, he sought guidance from a legend. While boxing fans often compare Floyd Mayweather Jr. and Crawford, they still acknowledge the undefeated 50-0 champion's greatness. Crawford himself holds deep respect for Mayweather. When asked about the comparisons, Crawford not only shared his thoughts but also praised Floyd, recognizing his unparalleled achievements in the sport.
Hit and not get hit, and to make the adjustments that he's made to certain fighters.
Crawford went on to explain, "We do share a lot of similarities in certain areas, but we're also different in some ways. I tend to take more risks." Early in his career, Floyd was taking plenty of chances too. It really depends on which version of Floyd Mayweather you're talking about. Money Mayweather or Pretty Boy Floyd. Pretty Boy was all about seek and destroy, but then he started dealing with hand injuries, which affected his power. Plus, he was moving up in weight and facing bigger opponents.
I think, I take more chances,
Excuse me, Crawford.
right now. But earlier in his career, he was taking a lot of chances as well. So,
As Crawford mentioned, there are many similarities between him and Mayweather. However, Fans and analysts have often compared the two to determine who the better fighter is. In one such comparison, a popular source named Mayweather as the likely winner in a hypothetical matchup. When it comes to pure boxing skill, it's difficult to find anyone who has delivered more masterful displays of the sweet science than Floyd Mayweather.
You talk about, do you talk about money or do you talk about Pretty Boy? Because Pretty Boy was what is seek and destroy.
Mayweather's crisp jab, precise timing, and exceptional counterpunching skills allowed him to dismantle a long list of opponents. He achieved this over two distinct phases of his career, showcasing his ability to adapt and dominate across different styles and weight classes.
Once again, is a lightning hand speed extraordinary. Left hook drops him, and then he hit his head off it en masse here at the engine.
As Crawford pointed out, Pretty Boy was the more aggressive boxer, always taking the fight to his opponents, while Money Mayweather, years later, used his brilliant boxing skills to outsmart and outpoint them. No matter the style, both versions of Mayweather cemented his legendary status in the sport. Fans are still in awe of what Crawford did to Spence in their last fight. The power jab that repeatedly pierced through Spence's guard, his ability to land punches in tight spaces, and the timing of his counterpunches. It was a display of supreme boxing, and it wasn't the first time we'd seen Crawford dominate, but his performance against Spence was on another level, given Spence's skill. When discussing pure boxing ability, Mayweather remains the standard, yet Crawford's style is unique, effective, and explosive in its own right. So, how would their boxing styles match up if Crawford faced Mayweather in his prime? Who would land the jab first, or be the more successful counterpuncher? With so many variables to consider, it's hard to choose a clear winner in this matchup, making it a potential draw in terms of boxing skill. How many times have we seen Mayweather lure his opponents to the center of the ring, where he would calculate, analyze, and then execute a strategy to break them down? Mayweather's high ring IQ, combined with his philosophy of hit and not get hit, carried him to an undefeated 5-division world championship career and into the Hall of Fame. Crawford, crowned undisputed champion at both junior welterweight and welterweight, has also displayed a high ring IQ throughout his career. While Mayweather showcased remarkable hand speed, particularly in counterpunching, Crawford brings a different style with his slashing angles and whiplash delivery, along with superior hand speed. Over Mayweather's 50 wins, 27 were by knockout, compared to Crawford's 40 wins, with 31 coming by knockout, and Crawford is still active in the ring. Now, consider Crawford's masterful performance against Spence, dropping him 3 times on his way to a dominant 9th-round TKO, defeating a power-punching, body-snatching fighter like Spence, who had systematically broken down Kell Brook, Sean Porter, and Denis Ugas to become the unified welterweight champion, was no easy task. Yet, Crawford made it look effortless, with his power playing a major role in his success. Mayweather, known for his defensive brilliance, would often lean into the Philly shell, raising his shoulder to absorb punches with his arm while using his free hand to land precise counterpunches. It was defensive boxing and counterpunching at its finest, showcasing the highest level of skill.
That's unbelievable. For young boxing fans that are watching Floyd Mayweather, you're seeing one of the greatest defensive fighter of all time. I mean, that's how strong. If you're wearing, then he's nowhere. You think you... And again, it's not just hand quick.
Crawford also possesses solid defensive skills, but Mayweather took defensive boxing to near perfection, elevating it to another level. So, how would a fight between a prime Mayweather and Crawford play out, and who would come out on top? After a tense first round, where both fighters try to gauge each other, Crawford would likely be the more active and aggressive one early on, landing shots even though many of them are blocked or absorbed by Mayweather's shoulder and elbow. As the fight moves into the middle rounds, Mayweather's defensive style would start to take over. He would begin to pepper Crawford with jabs, slowly winning rounds and controlling the pace with his ability to slip punches and counter effectively.
The way he rolls with punches. Look at the way he makes it miss. I mean, here we go. To a series of punches and nothing really landed. Rip it by Mayweather. Oh.
With constant pressure, Crawford's firepower could get through to Mayweather, possibly even hurting him at times. Despite how close this fight would be, Crawford's combination of skill and relentless volume might be enough to impress the judges and earn him the win on points against Mayweather's more methodical, defensive style. Moving up in weight is never simple, and Crawford is determined not to make the same mistakes as Canelo Alvarez did when he faced Dimitri Bivol years ago. Canelo's ambitious move up in weight led to a tough loss to the unbeaten WBA light heavyweight champion. Bivol relied on solid defense and precise punching, while Canelo struggled to land clean shots. He only landed a career-low 84 punches in 12 rounds, with Bivol winning a unanimous decision, 115 to 113 on all three judges' scorecards. CBS Sports had it 109 to 119 for Bivol, as the fight seemed far from competitive. After becoming the first undisputed super middleweight champion, Canelo returned to 175 pounds, but couldn't break through Bivol's defense. Bivol, a former Russian amateur star, shut down Canelo's offense with his jab and sharp counters, leaving Canelo with very few opportunities to land clean punches. Canelo's punches mostly landed on Bivol's left shoulder and arm, and Bivol's high guard prevented Canelo from breaking through. Despite thinking he was ahead, Canelo was outlanded 150 to 284 in total punches by Bivol, according to CompuBox. In the aftermath, Canelo admitted that Bivol was the better fighter that night. He said, "Sometimes in boxing, you win or lose, and I lost today. This loss taught Crawford valuable lessons, which is why he sought Floyd Mayweather's advice." Mayweather's legendary career as both a trainer and fighter speaks for itself, and his most recent trainee shocked the boxing world with an unexpected win earlier this year. During an extended interview with Patrick Bet-David on a podcast, junior welterweight contender Ryan Garcia from Victorville, California, opened up about his well-known friendship with Floyd "Money" Mayweather. Garcia made it clear that he respects the Hall of Fame fighter deeply, even more than many in his own circle. When Bet-David asked Garcia which high-profile person in his life had the license to give him blunt, unfiltered criticism, Garcia immediately pointed to Mayweather. Later in the conversation, Bet-David asked Garcia for his thoughts on a highly anticipated potential fight between Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford, two of the sport's most talented fighters. "I remember when I first got into boxing, one of the first things I learned was to respect weight classes," Ryan Garcia said. "But Terence Crawford is one of my favorite active fighters. He has incredible skills, very impressive skills. Maybe he could show us something new, but he already knows what to do. His coach knows how to guide him, and they'll find a way to make it work." When directly asked if Crawford could beat Canelo, Dimitri Bivol responded, "I can imagine it." This shows how highly Bivol regards Crawford's abilities, even though Crawford would be facing a naturally larger opponent. Bivol also pointed out that Crawford's high ring IQ could give him an edge over Canelo, saying, "I can tell you that Crawford is one of the best boxers in the world right now. I see him with more fighting IQ."
Canelo, 3 divisions up. Good idea, bad idea?
I don't remember sizes of Terence Crawford.
Welterweight.
If he big, actually.
Maybe he's probably...
Hall of Famer and ESPN boxing analyst Timothy Bradley Jr. is backing Terence Crawford in a potential matchup with Canelo Alvarez. Bradley took to his YouTube channel to express his support for Crawford, addressing the ongoing discussions about the weight difference. "Everyone keeps talking about the weight," Bradley said. And yeah, Crawford only recently moved up to middleweight for his 154-pound fight, while Alvarez has been fighting at 168 pounds since late 2020. Bradley then raised a critical point. "People keep saying he's going to knock Crawford out, but when was the last time Canelo actually knocked someone out? It's been a while." His last knockout was against Caleb Plant in November 2021.
Someone told me to study Canelo, study Crawford. Crawford about to beat the shit out of Canelo Alvarez. I'm letting y'all know right now, He about to beat the brakes off of Canelo Alvarez.
Since then, Canelo Alvarez has failed to score a knockout against notable opponents like Dmitry Bivol in a loss and the 40-year-old Gennady Golovkin. He's also gone the distance with fighters many thought were nowhere near his level, such as John Ryder, Jamie Munguia, and Edgar Berlanga. Even Jermall Charlo, a natural junior middleweight, went the distance with Canelo, though he wasn't nearly as competitive with the super middleweight champion. Y'all can quit with the "he's going to knock Crawford out" talk. Come on, man, Bradley said. Didn't we just see Alexander Usyk fight Tyson Fury, who was, quote-unquote, 50 pounds bigger? Canelo is the same height as Crawford, but he's not a natural 168-pounder. Bradley then emphasized that Crawford, like Usyk, is a great fighter. Great ones know how to figure it out, he said. He highlighted Crawford's reach of 70 inches, which is 3.5 inches longer than Canelo's, and his ability to limit his opponent's output with sharp counterpunching. Alvarez is known to have a low punch output, and Bradley believes Crawford could win a decision by staying at a distance, landing straight shots between Canelo's hooks, and tiring him out in the later rounds. Bradley also took a jab at Canelo, referring to the champion's apparent avoidance of David Benavidez, saying, "Don't go running away from the fight now, Canelo," while mimicking Canelo's higher-pitched voice. Despite many in the boxing world believing Canelo's size and power advantage would be too much for Crawford, Bradley stood firm in his belief that Crawford could impose his skills. "I'm going to get back to my drink," Bradley said, sipping as he concluded. Whether the boxing world will see a Crawford-Canelo matchup remains uncertain. Crawford, who became the undisputed welterweight champion in July 2023 after stopping Errol Spence Jr. in 9 rounds, made even more history earlier this year by becoming a 4-division champion, defeating Israel Madrimov to capture the WBA title at 154 pounds. Meanwhile, Canelo, the Mexican star, has enjoyed plenty of success in recent years.
Listen, I think Berlanga's a talented kid who's getting better. He's improved recently. I think he still needs more seasoning, but I see an improvement in him.
After securing the undisputed super middleweight title in 2021, Canelo Alvarez fell short in his challenge against then WBA light heavyweight champion Dmitry Bivol. However, the 34-year-old has since rebounded with 5 consecutive victories, defeating the likes of Gennady Golovkin, Jermall Charlo, and Edgar Berlanga along the way. Legendary boxing trainer turned analyst Teddy Atlas shared his thoughts with Fight Hub TV regarding the potential mega fight between Canelo and Terence Crawford, stating that it would be hard to bet against the American southpaw. Very few people have the appetite or inclination for challenging themselves. Mr. Crawford does, Atlas remarked. I ain't never going against that guy. Father Time might catch him, but I don't know if a weight class can catch him. He acknowledged that Canelo is a tremendous fighter, bigger, stronger, and with knockout power, but emphasized that Crawford's ability to come up with a game plan that neutralizes an opponent's size would make him a formidable challenger. Speaking further to Fight Hub TV, Atlas gave Crawford high praise. Crawford has all the tools to win a third-weight undisputed crown. Any serious boxing fan knows Crawford can beat Canelo. You have to know fighting to say that, he said. Regarding the fight's potential date, the key weekend dates closest to Cinco de Mayo, May 3rd or May 10th, are still on the table for a potential showdown between the two stars. However, Canelo might be waiting to see the outcome of the February 22nd fight between light heavyweight rivals Artur Beterbiev and Dmitry Bivol. Beterbiev defeated Bivol in their first fight last year. Stay tuned for the latest updates and insights into the world of boxing. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and turn on notifications for all the quality content to come. Peace out.